Hello and welcome back to Pandemic Playground with Dave. So we got a little bit something different today, and that is a crash test site. Alright, so what I mean by a crash test site is basically I'm thinking of making a series of using rovers, right now small rovers or small grid rovers, to test if they can kind of keep the passenger or driver alive based on a few criteria. One being, can it ramp, land, and not break and kill the driver? So I made a fairly not too steep ramp here using voxel hands, and this should allow it to kind of ramp almost any vehicle. Maybe not a 1x1 wheeled vehicle, but it should do pretty fine with something traveling at 100 meters per second. It's gonna have a nice ramp. It's not gonna be a high ramp, of course, but a decent ramp forward. Will it survive that kind of ramp, that fall? I think for the most part, hopefully yes, but I thought of making it just so we could test it. And we did make it pretty long, as you see here, where we're able to grab any rover, small grid currently, and we can drive it and hopefully it reaches max speed to kind of make that ramp. So before we do that, we got to make sure if this vehicle can go max speed. So this vehicle here is the PV4 buggy, which is actually one of those vehicles you can buy from an economy base. So I thought I can just keep that here and use it to kind of see if we can ramp it as a survival situation, or a crash test, or a crash safety test as we can call it. But a real true crash safety test would include crashing into a wall. So the second item I have here is to crash into these three walls here, which it's layered, but it is gapped between two grids, as you see here, and these are actually blast doors. So it's probably one of the bigger, heavier types of materials that we can have to kind of crash right into it and not really break the walls. But even if it did break the walls, it will look pretty cool in that sense. But will it keep the driver safe? That's why I want to test with all these types of things here. And the secondary to that one, if for whatever reason that rover cannot make it to the 100 meters per second max speed, I'm planning to use something like this, which is a thruster based system or track system using landing gears. So we can bring this thing and fly it forward, and once it hits a certain point, we'll put a sensor and just release the vehicle, so we can hit close to 100 meters per second, or hopefully 100 meters per second, before it crashes into the blast doors here. So I haven't really thought it all out just yet, but that was just kind of the idea. And the next one, a little bit more practical, is playing around with turrets. Can we drive the vehicle fast enough to avoid a few turrets that's aiming at a certain range? Let's just say 400 meters, 600 meters, whatever the case may be. Can you actually drive past it without getting shot down? Will the driver still stay safe or not, depending on situations? I gotta work this one out because right now we are actually in a creative single player, so I need to add this to multiplayer so I can have my secondary account build the turrets so I can aim for myself in that case, or vice versa, have the secondary account drive. So I gotta build a track, have the aiming system, and I think I'm gonna have to use some sensors to make it start at a certain range, because I want to shoot it sideways more than forward. Shooting forward obviously is gonna easy target. Running sideways probably not as an easy target. So the idea here with the crash test or crash safety test is actually to get you guys involved as well. Because what I want to do is not just build my own rovers to test these things, but I want to test all of your guys's vehicles, small grid rovers, to see how well your rovers can survive these types of systems or crash tests. So what I would probably do, grab the rovers or small grid rovers that you guys create. If you put it in the workshop or anywhere else where I can grab them, I'm gonna of course, subscribe to it, paste it onto these testing sites, and then of course go and see how well it performs. And then we'll do a little bit of a spotlight review of your vehicle as well. So the best way to do that is to, of course, drop a comment down below, and don't necessarily link your workshop item because sometimes YouTube Comics automatically deletes links. So just put in the name of the workshop item, and I'll just search for it, see if I can grab it, and I'll just put it to the test. So with all that said and done, let's actually try it now. So with the kind of economy-based purchased vehicle, we know this thing can go, I think it can go 100 meters per second. Actually not too sure. We did increase the speed limit, so it should reach the max speed. So let's put this guy to the test. So we drive it forward, and looks like we don't lean too much to the right this time, but it's still a little bit of a glitch. So we're hitting close to 100 meters per second, and we're hitting the kind of edge of the ramp, and there we go. That's what I kind of want to test to see if it lands. And ooh, at that speed, it didn't like the bit of a braking and turning. So things like that's gonna happen when you do a ramp system or kind of fly when you hit a hill or something like that. So those are the kind of things I want to test out, and we actually flew pretty far away, to be honest. That's quite interesting. So the next item, of course, is the ultimate, kind of like the ultimate test. It is to see, can you survive as a driver if you smack into some walls at high speeds. So for example, just double check to make sure we can go max speed. We can increase the power a little bit more. By default, I think it was set at 30%, but let's just put it as high as we can. And well, not as again, a comfortable number, I would say, and then try to see if we can survive crashing into this wall here. So actually, in order to test if we will survive it, I would have to go into survival mode to test it. I think for the most part, the cockpit does kind of secure you from dying, but sometimes you can die. So of course we're going to test that. But ultimately, if your cockpit is destroyed, you render your rover useless anyways. And we're going to kind of see if we take any damage and everything like that. I think you do. I haven't really done it in survival just yet, but we're going to convert it to survival and give that a shot. But let's see how this kind of rolls out. So if we go at the max speed here, I'm going to crash right into these blast doors. Let's just see what happens. So we're about to hit it. Boom. We just bounced off of it. It's quite interesting. So that one just bounced off of it, and it didn't break too much. Is it because I'm in creative mode that's not break? No, that's not true, because it looks like some of it kind of got destroyed. But we can test it by see if we could just toss this guy a little bit. And nope, that didn't work. There we go. It does break. Okay, so I think it. Oh look, it just created these little holes here. So I think it bounced because the wheels were in the front. Maybe, I don't know. So again, maybe I should change that up and put into some light armor blocks. For some reason, I've done light armor blocks before, and it seems to work a little bit better. So let's just give that a test really quick, see if that is kind of the case. All right, we spawned a new buggy, and we're gonna. Ooh, that's going a little crazy. All right, so we're gonna run right into the light armor blocks and see if it makes a difference, because I think the blast doors. Yep, it made a big difference. I am underneath the track itself. Interesting. Okay, so I gotta switch that out. So it's a good thing I'm testing this. So that pretty much, the cockpit just kind of just destroyed. I think I would have probably died, or the player would have died, crashing into the wall like that. And that's an interesting way of braking. But I think we will have to use kind of light armor blocks or even heavy armor blocks instead, because for what reason blast doors it just made it bounce. I guess it makes sense because you can use blast doors as like landing equipment or landing blocks and things like that, where it hits the ground and not break anything. So we're gonna have to swap that out and probably use different materials. Maybe I do like to use window panes, if you've seen in a very old video of ours, which is our build challenges, where we've put to the test our vehicles to see if it goes through the window panes and how it looks like, or how many layers of window panes we can go through. So the next piece here, not the last one, but the next piece here, if for whatever reasons your rover doesn't reach the 100 meters per second mark at that length, we're going to put it to the test and throw it onto this thruster driven machine. So we're going to find a way, and we could probably do this through a landing gear situation. I actually don't even know which landing gear that small one is, but it should be the one that's locked currently. So let's just see. It's this one. I'm just going to call this the small landing gear. So what we can do, instead of using sensors currently, I'm going to definitely put it in sensors just to make it more consistent so that it will unlock at a certain point. But we're going to do switch lock here. So once we get a certain point, I'm just going to let go, and it's going to just pretty much smack into the wall. We can easily hit 100 meters per second using these thrusters, of course, and we can stop it. We can do everything we can with it and have it all programmed through sensors. So to test it, when we're going forward, it takes a bit of time to get started, but it does hopefully reach about 100 meters per second. If not, I'm going to add a lot more thrusters onto this thing. It looks like we're not going to make it to that point just yet, but here I'm going to just test it, let it go, and let it crash, just as an example of how that kind of works. But if we were able to hit 100 meters per second, I would have this vehicle smack into the wall. I'm going to have to switch the walls again to see how well it performs, or if it's gonna kill the driver or not. So a lot of crash testing that I want to do. I think there could be more types of items that we can use aside from the last thing, which is the turret. We can do a drop from a certain height. I think that's a good one too, but I want you guys to kind of comment down below. Let me know what other crash testing I should do to determine if it's gonna keep the driver safe and survive, or will it kind of damage the player or hurt the player, damage the driver or hurt the driver. So I really do want to get you guys involved here, and really do want to work on a series like this, just to crash test a lot of small grid rovers. I like building small grid rovers rather than large grid, because you could do a lot of designing with it, and of course I like just making really compact stuff too. So really would be interested to see everybody's rover builds and put these things to the test. But again, let me know down below if you have other ideas, or even cooler ideas, where we could put in separate tracks to test how well these rovers will perform. Alright, so this is just an idea so far, and if you guys are interested in this series and getting involved in it, it would be cool. But unfortunately, I won't know if you're interested unless you hit that thumbs up, like the video, so I know there's some interest there. If not, we'll probably just scrap the idea. Alright, so let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.